Hi all, I'm Libby, proud captain of Millwall Lionesses. Thank you to our Millwall fan show from the No One Likes Us Talking team for sponsoring me this year. Make sure you give them a listen like I do. Or even better, why not sponsor a Lioness while you're at it like they do? Thank you always for your continued support.
This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Hi, I'm Bethany Warren, and you are joining me to listen to the podcast of our Millwall fan show with the No One Likes Us Talking team, which is available every Friday at 8 p.m.
It is the 8th show of COVID-19 in lockdown 3.0 here in England. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of George Lampey, Stan Godwin and Bethany Warren.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Well, before I turn to the panel, there are a couple of urgent requests that are still outstanding. Sean Daly of the Millwall Community Trust is still desperate for volunteers to deliver their support to the community. He is still losing team members due to self-isolation requirements. Call Sean on 07958 027060 if you can help. That's 07958 027060. Additionally, the Lions Food Hub, based in the Rennie and Manor Estate Tenants and Residents Association Hall in Bermondsey, are looking for food and financial support. To help them, you can find Lions Food Hub on Twitter and Facebook, and just send them a message and they'll be delighted if you can give them some support. Well, hello gang, great to have you back again. And it's nice to have you all in the studio this evening. Oh, I'm going to say hello to George first. George, what did you make of our game against Wycombe Wanderers last Saturday?
Yeah, well, I thought Saturday was a bit of a disappointment in many respects. Playing Smith up front, I don't disagree with that. I think when you play him, you've got to have somebody close to him who's got pace to counteract his, let's be polite, his age. So I think you need to play more, maybe a 4-4-2 when you have Smith from the start. And I just think we just didn't get going. Ainsworth plays a funny formation. He plays 4-1-4-1. That's a strange formation, but, you know, really I think it was all down to us that we didn't succeed on Saturday, to be honest.
OK. Stan, what did you make of the Luton game?
From our point of view, I thought it was a poor game. We didn't show any quality at any time. You know, it was all a bit kick and lump it, and hope for the best. And you know, and without sounding like a stuck record, I mean, you know my view and all that, and you know, Luton, they were there. You know, they was trying to get payback time, and you know, and then when they scored, to be honest, once they scored, I thought to myself we're going to struggle here to score, and because we just wasn't playing well, you know. And then eventually, as it happens, the best player for Millwall that night, who I thought was their best player, come good for us and scored the goal. The only other thing that I was hoping for in that game, and also the previous game, is that we didn't end up getting somebody injured, and it was going to be out possibly for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a poor game, and you know, and I was. You know, a lot of people were moaning about Luton were wasting time and whatever. But, well, you know, I don't blame them, because there's times in games in the past I wish we'd done that when we should be closing the game down, and we're not doing that. And that's what you should do. Always close when you get to 10 minutes from the end, and you're in a winning position or that. Start to close the game down, so the opposition don't get a chance to get back in it.
Yeah. Bethany, having listened to George and Stan's view, what would be your overview of the two games and what we've got out of them?
Do you know what? I'd actually have to agree with what both George and Stan have said. with regards to the Luton game, yeah, it was poor, and I think we really got lucky in the end to get that game. Like Stan said, absolutely, George Evans was definitely my man of the match. It was very frustrating to watch, actually, especially because of their time wasting. Oh, my God. I'm surprised people weren't booked a bit more, but, that's a different conversation for a different day. And again, with the Wycombe game, I would agree with both of them.
Yeah, I thought Evans was man of the match in both of those games, funnily enough.
Yeah, definitely, agree.
He certainly is doing us some good since
and
he's arrived.
He does a lovely pass, doesn't he? That one that went out to Marlon, I think he did a couple of them. They must have travelled 30 yards. They were beautiful shots. Yeah, beautiful passes.
He puts the ball about. Okay, well, let's hope it's better things for this weekend, but we'll talk about that later. We'll take a break there and be back with our first guest this evening. But for now, let's listen to what fantastic fanatics can offer our club.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
I'm back, that's me, Eamonn Barclay, with the No One Likes Us talking team of George Lampey, Stan Godwin and Bethany Warren. Well, our first guest on the show, interesting character. The last time we had him in, he sort of crept into the show, said hello, waved at Brian King and then dived off again a bit lively. He's a London lad. He comes from what I would call West Ham territory, but thankfully his father was a Millwall fan and brought him up the right way. We really have got to say to his dad, well done, and we aren't going to name him yet because you don't know who it is until I say he was the goalkeeper that took us into the top flight. You know who it is. It's that one and only Brian Horne.
There you go. I tell you what, someone must have let you down for me to come on, that's for sure.
Hey? That's strange, that, isn't it? Hey?
Is it?
I'll have to speak to old Jermaine Easter when I talk to him. He's actually texted me back and he said, "Tell Brian I'm delighted he could do that at short notice."
No, for the show, anything for the show is great. You give up your time, you boys, and you put on a bloody good show. So, if you're ever in need, I'm here. No worries.
You're our man. Safe hands in rough seas. I know.
Once upon a time.
Brian, before I let you off to the team, we had old Alan McCleary on last week, and Alan was telling us the story about how George Graham turned up and he took the team from falling into the depths of depravity and returning them to the side that was then going to take itself forward and become that team that did reach the promised land. The only thing that sort of worried, I think, Alan at the time was old George turned up and the first thing he did was to drop Alan from the side.
I listened to the show, actually, and I think George changed Millwall. I think George changed Millwall into the club we are today, if I'm honest. I think he come in with Theo. He put a lot of discipline into the club, I think, and he changed the way. He had an air about him. He was just, as an apprentice as I was at the time then, you were scared if he walked past, you sort of stood to attention if you like. But, that showed in the way he got Millwall going. And as we say, we was nearly out of the league at one stage and he saved the club and it went from there. So I think George changed the club. But, regarding Macca, Macca was a great player, a great centre-half of the club, a great servant. Yeah. You don't really get much better, do you?
No. 3 times. I think, he really turned it in for the Lions. Yeah, that was interesting times and really good to listen to. But I'm going to now pass you over to Bethany, who's going to talk about how you amazed her when she met you. Yeah.
I've never amazed anybody.
Yeah, well, you have now, so get ready to listen.
Okay.
Bethany, explain your amazement with Brian.
Hello.
Hello, Bethany.
When me and my dad, Steve, come to the executive lounge, my dad was just like, Bethany, there's Brian Horne over there. He's hosting tonight. I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, hello. And then if I wanted a picture with a player, you'd always be like, come here. Let's get you to see this player. Right, let me sort this out for you. We're going to go down and try and get on the pitch. Let's have a go. And it was just so kind and so lovely. And I just have a lot of respect for you. And it made my experience so much nicer than I ever imagined. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's no problem. But you shouldn't be surprised, us ex-players are all like that, So it's the least we can do, and that's what makes our club so special to the Millwall supporters.
Yeah. Honestly, everyone's been so lovely. Jimmy Carter, Les Briley, Barry Rowan, everyone that I've met there has just been so lovely. And I don't really know what I expected when I first went, but we were just so amazed that every time we would walk past an old player that we'd met a couple of times, like, oh, hi Steve, hi Bethany, how are you? And it's just for me it was nice seeing my dad's dreams come true. So, and then
I'm in the same boat because my dad obviously was a Millwall supporter, so he's given me a good grounding, my dad, and I've been brought up with Millwall supporters, so I like to show them a lot of respect, whether I'm working in the lounge or just walking around the ground. It's a great club. I support them all my life. So, why should I be horrible to Millwall supporters?
No, you're very good. My granddaughter says exactly the same when she goes down there and tries to raise some money for the old cancer scene, and you do a great job on that, Brian.
No worries. No, all of them do. Les does great work, and Wesley and Barry Rowan when he was working there. They all work tirelessly to try and make everyone's afternoon enjoyable, if you like. Maybe sometimes I get a bit blue, but that's me. But it's all good fun. So if I've made your day, Bethany, and you're going to come back with your dad to the den, and I've done my job a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, we're going to try and come back. It was his 60th in January, so I said as soon as we could get back and do another one of those days, we'll do it.
All right, lovely. It'll be nice to see you again. That's if they want me back, of course.
Yeah.
I've got to tell you, Bethany, don't treat me like that when I see him at the club.
Yeah, but you're George.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Come on, Bethany, ask your questions. Don't be put off by George. He's bad enough
George
tonight.
is the man he's the man who come in from the cold, Bethany. George.
Yeah.
So my first question is, who did you rate as your best defenders when you were playing for us?
Our best defenders. I think I was brought up, luckily, with Rhino, with Macca. Dorsey was brought in from QPR, which again is another brilliant servant for the Lions. I thought he was probably one of the best buys the club's ever made. Really, he was a fantastic left back.
Yeah.
And then obviously Woody come in from Reading, Nicky Coleman, Sean Spyram, Davey Thompson. We had a really, really good crop of defenders, but obviously Rhino, his aggression, determination. Rhino wasn't a gifted footballer, but he was at the top of the tree for as I say, for playing for Millwall, and the aggression and determination and wanting to win. He was brilliant. Macca the same. Dorsey was a little bit more accomplished and very, very tidy and a good footballer. Woody come in, he liked to brush his hair a little bit in the dressing room before he come out, make sure he looked lovely, He would come in the cleanest player. If you have a look at the videos, he never had a bit of mud on him. He used to come in very clean. He makes his tackles, make sure he didn't go to ground. But, it was, that bunch of players. David Thompson coming down from up north and fitting into the club brilliantly. Apart from his back pass against Liverpool when John Barnes scored. But we won't go into that. And Sean Sparham, he's unlucky, he had to retire through injury. But Sean was a great player as well. And then you looked at Nicky Coleman, very, very underrated left back, great left foot. And obviously his brother played for the club as well. We all grow up together, really, and we just wanted to play for the club and win. So if I was to say the best defenders I had to play with, Rhino, Macca, Woody, Nicky Coleman, Sean Sparham, Dorsey, Danny Salmon I haven't mentioned. All the back four, that there was around at that time, they all fitted in if players were injured, and we all got to know each other's game and done all right for a few years. So, I'd have to say that eight or so players that I've named there, they were brilliant to work with.
Fantastic.
Does that answer your question, Bethany?
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
It's George here, mate.
How you doing,
you
George?
were talking about George Graham, and of course he played a huge part. As you said, we were on the verge of going down, and he saved us and he progressed the club. And then John took over. I mean, did you see the progression of the club? Did you see that once John took over, because George was doing, George was destined for great things in management. Did you see John, was that pretty quick to you that John was going to continue that progression?
I think when John and Frank come in, the only thing that was similar was that they were Scottish. George just had his own way about him, But I know the question you're asking, but I think Doc had his own way. George had a great stock of players to get us where he did, but then we went through an era where all the players come through the youth system, and Doc just tinkered with that. As I said, brought in Woody, brought in Paul Stevenson, brought in Chicken George, brought in Terry Erlock, brought in Cascarino, Kevin O'Callaghan come back, and all of a sudden, if you look at that team, half of them were Millwall supporters, three-quarters of them were Millwall supporters. It meant something special to play for them, and I suppose that was the difference then, that all of us come through the youth system, all of us had worked together, we knew a lot of it, and Doc and Frank got hold of that. They were interested in youth. They wanted to put youth into the side, and he brought in the likes of Terry that just made the team and clicked it all together. Les Briley was already there. I mean, Les, what he did, what people don't know, he used to back the players massively, and we used to take the mickey out of Les terribly, or the players did, but Les always used to back the players, and it's not until you finish you realise how much Les done for everybody. And he was brilliant. Him and Terry in the middle of the park when they played. I said this to you the other day, George. I wouldn't want to play against them now, and they're both 60. they were hard-working, strong, just dedicated to the cause of playing, and that's why Terry went on to play for England, and Les played as long as he did. They were brilliant.
They may not have been our best two professional players in the middle, them two, but they were just the greatest combination, weren't they? Sometimes they didn't have to be Alex Ray or Tim Cahill. They didn't maybe have their skills, but they were just together. They just worked, didn't they, like chemistry? Yeah,
I mean, Terry was a better player than what people give him credit for.
Terry I'd give you that. Yeah.
Terry could play. I mean, Les knew his capabilities. I mean, it was clear to see he used to win the ball and pass it off to someone that could do something with it. He had a fluky shot, I think it was away at Crystal Palace when Charlton was playing there, and put one in the top corner from about 30 yards. I think that was one of his goals that I can remember him scoring. But Les knew his capabilities. He was strong. He was a terrier-like in midfield. Won the ball and passed it. He knew what his job was. But with Terry, I mean, Terry had a little bit of pace about him. He got in the box. He scored the odd goal here and there. And there weren't a midfield player in the country that fancied playing against Terry and Les. That's for sure.
Brian, stand here, mate. I mean, you talked about Ian Dawes, and I mean, I have to agree. I mean, in my opinion, he's one of the best defenders Millwall's ever had. And I remember seeing him when he played for QPR, because and when he played for QPR, that's when they was playing on the plastic pitch, and there's a lot of myths around about that pitch, but he was always at home on it. But the thing that always struck me about Dorsey was that why I think he was so good is because he just did everything that was so simple. You know, he never done anything complicated. You know, it was just, you know, if it was a 10-yard pass, that would do for him. You know what I mean? And I just think he was a great reader of the game, and as I say, he's one of the best defenders we've ever had.
That's a sign of a good player, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
When people do things simple and don't complicate it, and you know, and defends properly and does it well, it's a sign of a good player. He was very quiet. He went about his business in the right way. I think he even got a goal against Luton, if I can remember, from a free kick, and he smashed it in the top of the net. One of them I can remember. Yeah. So he was just one of them players that was very quiet. He was very, very professional. And you know, he's been up the club I think a couple of times recently, so it was nice to see Dorsey, and yeah, he was definitely a great left back for the club.
Let me ask you this, Brian. I'm talking about when you used to turn up at Millwall with your dad, and I'm talking about before you actually got involved with Millwall, so to speak, right? And you was just like a supporter.
Yeah.
Who was the best player that you reckon you saw in your time as a kid to support Millwall?
I remember one game. I can't remember how old it was. We beat Exeter, I think 5-4 at home, and I think we were 3 or 4-0 down at half time. Yeah. And Barry Kitchener tried an overhead kick in the 18-yard box. He got carried off. I think you know, I mean, I say that being brought up. I mean, I can remember Dave Donaldson being quite good. Tony Towner springs to mind. Who else was there? That I mean, obviously Brian King is a great mate of mine, but watching him at the Cold Blow Lane end when I was a kid, you know, you sort of, that's what you strive to be. And Alfie Wood up front. I don't know, the white strip comes to mind. You know what I mean? With a big lion badge on there. It was just an iconic strip for Millwall in my eyes. You know, it was a great strip that Millwall had. But yeah, they're the sort of players that spring to mind. My dad will tell you every team that's ever played for Millwall. You know, we was round here the other night watching it on Tuesday, and you know, he turns up at my house to watch the game, and he's got his scarf on and everything else. He's brilliant. He's fantastic. My dad can tell you everything about everybody, and I'm sure you know, George, that you've been in his company. He has his ideas that he's not everybody's agrees with, but he's passionate. One thing you can't say about him is he's passionate about Millwall.
Yeah.
And,
no, that's right. Yeah.
And but like we you know, he used to take me. I don't know if you remember down at the old Cold Blow Lane. There used to be a brick taken out of your wall, so the kids could put their foot in the brick, and so they could sort of look over the wall at that time. It didn't have the big fences, but you could look over the wall, or there was a wooden steps that if you was lucky and you got there early enough, you could go on the wooden steps and stand up, and you'd have a right good view. So, yeah, them type of players come to mind. Dave Donaldson, Alfie Wood, Tony Towner. You know, them type of players that I grew up with watching, and then George's team sort of come in, and then obviously it was my turn. But Tony Hazel, there's another one come to mind.
Yeah,
midfield player. So, you know, them type of players that was at Mill at the time. Where did we sign Tony Tanner from? Didn't we play a team in the Cup? And he'd done really well against us, and we signed him from that side.
He come from a northern team, didn't he?
Was it Blythe Spartans?
No, I don't think so.
Who did we draw in the Cup? I think we drew someone in the FA Cup. And
we got Leatherhead, and we bought when we got that.
Chris Kelly.
Yeah, we got
the Leatherhead lip.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I mean, he come to the club, and I thought he was a great player. I'm seeing Keith Weller play. I'm sure I've seen him play.
I'm
Then you would have seen Posse play, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I've seen Derek Posse. Yeah, I've seen.
And my namesake, old Amo.
Yeah, for Eamonn Barclay. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny you say that because, you know, I mean, every now and again we have these discussions about the old den and this, that, and the other, and you know, a lot of it's true. But for me, I mean, when I was going, Brian, I was going in the 60s. Now, you know, and we talk about the crowds and this, that, and the other. I mean, in my experience, that period was at the den was when it was at its zenith. You know, I mean, I went back a few times after that because I'd met my girlfriend who then become the wife, and my life took a different turn at that point and whatever. But you know, I used to go down there, and you used to watch Keith Weller. I mean, it was like watching the conductor of an orchestra. I mean, the man was magnificent. Yeah. I mean, to me, he's the best player I've ever seen put a Millwall shirt on, ever.
But Tony Towner, he came from Brighton of Hove Albion.
I think.
Yeah, that's north of.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
I think he still lives that way today. Actually,
north of Cherbourg, that is.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was, I mean, as you say, I mean, going back to when I was a kid, going, and I can remember 2,000 or 3,000 on a Tuesday night or whenever it was watching, or even sometimes on a Saturday we'd get that. But it just seemed, I don't know, them 2,000 or 3,000 fans just seemed to make so much noise in the old ground. Yeah. And then obviously when, as you say, in the iconic 60s, when it was absolutely jammed and packed, and you know, you'd have your 30s and 48,000s in the old den. You know, it's great. It's just an iconic club, Millwall. It's brilliant, and you know, you just want us to do well. You just want us to stay in the Championship at the moment, and just have another maybe glory year where we go up to the Premier League and cause havoc for a year.
I mean, that ground as it was then. I mean, that was you know. I mean, well, in actual Bethany's dad, Steve would remember this, but. I mean, when we had the unbeaten run, you know, for 2 years or 2 and a bit years. I mean, that ground. I mean, obviously it was a good side, you know, and we had 8 consecutive clean sheets at the end of one season and the start of the next season. I mean, you don't normally get that, but if you check the records, we had that, and the crowd made it. But the ground was awesome, and. When you went there, and I remember when we played Carlisle, and I mean, we had 3 pitch invasions, right, and it was all friendly. When we scored 2 goals, or Len Julian scored the 2 goals, and at the end of the game, and I mean, it was just brilliant. You know, I mean, it's unfortunate them sort of games weren't recorded on the television then, which is a great shame.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there's some games there that have been absolutely fantastic, and yeah, I love the old den. I mean, I love the little players' tunnel as you went in and sort of straight through onto the pitch. It was, you know, the little players' lounge up the top. It was just, I grew up with it. It's something that I can, you know, fondly remember. And I'll never lose sight of that. I mean, I've been lucky enough to play at both grounds. I played at Millwall as well, so the new den. But if you have to ask me a favourite, I mean, there's no competition.
I've got a question about goalkeepers of today. Do you think that they're punching the ball too much rather than catching it?
I know you say about goalkeepers union. That's quite a good question, Bethany. I like that question. The balls are very, very light these days. When we played, the balls were quite heavy. So when they were struck true, they stayed straight. Now, if you get a good strike on the ball, they will move all over the place, and it's very, very difficult for goalkeepers to catch the ball. That's why you don't see many goalkeepers catching the ball these days. They're taught to palm the ball away, which in my eyes is a travesty, because if you get your eye to ball coordination right, you should be able to catch the ball however it moves. But listen, it's the ball moves a lot, so that's why you see in goalkeeping now a lot of them punch rather than catch, because of the weight of the ball and how it moves. But goals, Bethany, that's why the ball was changed, so the ball moves, so keepers make mistakes and forwards score more goals. That's simply the reason why they do that. But it doesn't make a goalkeeper's life very comfortable, I can tell you that for nothing.
Yeah, we could have seen old Bart come out with a few punches at Luton there. It's a shame he never took a few of the players out with him when he did it. But there you go.
That was a great performance at Luton. What are you worried about?
No, he did it.
Absolutely superb supporters. I was riveted to the TV all night.
It was wonderful to watch. Even George said afterwards how he found it to be scintillating. Yeah. But there you go. We can't have it all. But Brian, I must say, it's a big thank you for coming on at short notice. You're one of our favourites, and it's a delight to have you on. But Brian, before you go, there'll be another scintillating game coming up this Saturday at Oakwell when we go and face Barnsley. Yeah. And as is the tradition, we ask for a prediction of what you think the score will be when Millwall face the Tykes at Oakwell.
Well, Millwall are on 8 unbeaten, however you look at it. They're going well, Barnsley.
Yeah.
So I think that Millwall will win 2-0.
Wow. I'll take that any day. Right. Can you name the scorers as well?
Well, if he's listening, Bradshaw.
Right, he must.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hutchinson from a corner.
Lovely.
All right,
that'd be great.
Hutchinson scores in the 89th minute. That's it. That job done.
That'd be lovely. That'd be absolutely brilliant. It'd be great if old Bradders gets a goal in up at Oakwell. He deserves it.
Let's hope so, and let's hope he plays because he'll have something to prove there as well. And if he can get a goal on the day, then beautiful. But let's be positive. Let's go up there and let's see how the boys do. But you never know. Jake Cooper might come back either.
He might. He wants to come back. I don't think Gary will let him know. That'll be the difference. Would it arrest him a bit? Brian, lovely.
Don't that show the difference between today's football and when we played that?
Yeah. I can remember players.
Many in your days, weren't they, Brian? They were many in your days.
Well, I weren't a man, but
he was just a boy at the time. Yeah, that's all right. Brian, lovely to have you on the show, mate.
Cheers.
Take care, and we'll see you again soon. Ta-da, my friend.
Thanks, gentlemen. And ladies, Brian. Take care. Bye. Bye.
Well, that was great to listen to Brian there. Absolutely brilliant. He's always good value. Always helps us out when we're in the stuff. Brian Horne. Well, we'll take a break there before we listen to the player-manager of Millwall Romans. But first, here is a close collaborator of our Stan. That's Kai Bennett. Him and Stan are always collaborating. And it's his Millwall Fan TV that we're going to listen to.
Hello, I'm Kai. I run Millwall Fan TV. I have done for about a year and a half now. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. If you just search in Millwall Fan TV, I should come up. You can also find me on YouTube at Millwall Fan TV. I do pre-match predictions, post-match analysis and full-time reaction. I also try to do as many interviews on ex-Millwall players. I've done about 10 so far and I've absolutely loved every minute of it. Thank you so much for all your support. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, it's Millwall Fan TV. All your support is always massively appreciated. Thank you.
I'm Eamonn Barclay and I'm back with a No One Likes Us Talking team of Bethany, Warren, Stan, Godwin and George Lampey. Great to listen to Kai. By the way, he's now reporting regularly on the online soccer journal Vavel.com. That's V for Victor, A for Alpha, V for Victor, E for Echo, L for Lima. Vavel.com. Well worth checking it out. Before we move on, I caught up with Millwall Romans player-manager to find out his hopes for the Romans on returning to football. But please forget the London Underground Central line. This evening I have Paul Loding with me. Paul is the player-manager of Millwall Romans, the LGBTQI team under the Millwall banner. There was a very good view given by you, Paul, to a friend of the show, Lucas Ball, on the line journal, The London Soccer Scene, entitled Millwall Romans players may have been hit hard by coronavirus, but their manager is still dreaming big. Certainly the past 12 months has hit sport hard, and when we met you and the team at St Paul's Sports Ground in Rotherhithe last summer, thoughts looking forward were to the next season, which was sadly brought to a halt as pandemic restrictions came around once more to knock you back. Well, Paul, great to speak to you again.
And you, Eamonn. Thanks for having me on.
Things are now changing with the government's roadmap. So how do you see football resuming for Millwall Romans?
So nice to speak to you again, Eamonn. It's obviously been some good news the last few days regarding resuming the outdoor activities. We've been in contact with our league. From the 29th, it sounds like we can get back training. The league are keen to continue the fixtures, which will probably start in mid-April, to give us a couple of weeks to train together, get the football going again. Hopefully by mid-April we should be back on track. We've still got quite a few fixtures to play, obviously for the remainder of the season. And one thing that Sean's actually mentioned to us, which is great from the trust, that if clubs in our league are struggling with pitches, we can offer St Paul's as a venue for them. Some of our, which is great, absolutely brilliant of him. As you can imagine, there's a few teams that play on pitches that are cricket pitches, and if we're looking to go into June or July, they're just not going to be usable. But with that facility there, that would be amazing if we can complete the league.
How have you and the team maintained your mind and body fitness during the lockdown?
Yeah, I think this one's definitely felt harder for everybody. I think the weather hasn't helped. I'm incredibly lucky that I'm still going into the office and allowed to work. We've tried to keep everybody up to date with everything that's going on in our side. We've got the WhatsApp groups that we obviously we've got different supporters and the news and the football comes backwards and forwards from that. We've done our online quizzes, which is quite a nice little feature we can do in the evenings. We've done a wine tasting event as well online.
I've noticed that, yeah.
Which was fun for one evening. In terms of the body side of things, for myself, it's been a bit of a struggle. I've done very minimal fitness and decided to sit there and get fat for the last few weeks. But we've got an app we use at Strava, which we've got a league table of runs that everyone does.
Good.
And at the end of the week, then we can look at who's done the best times. As I say, I try and avoid looking at it at all costs because it just reminds me how much I'm not doing. Yeah. But my plan is this weekend will be the first one I go out and then walk around limping for the first week of next month, I should imagine.
Excellent.
So it's just keeping everyone involved, and I think especially for the guys that are living on their own and they haven't got the luxury of going to work. It's just a case of just checking in with them, making sure everything's all right. We're always on the banter group, that we can have a bit of a chat with each other and that. So it's been tough, but we've adapted.
But definitely a mind and body plan. Excellent. Good to hear. You mentioned in that article future plans for Millwall Romans. Perhaps you can tell us what they are and how far down the line the plans are from becoming reality.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we obviously joined up with Millwall last summer, and everything was looking great, and we didn't. There wasn't a prediction of another lockdown in December, and it's been very stop-start. But from last year, we were looking at we'll be getting a second team in place, which will still happen, I think, in next year, whenever this season does finish. I think it will probably go on until August. We may start next season a little bit later, but it would be great if we can get a second team going. So we've got these players that are all coming along for training. If we can offer a Sunday game as well, just to keep everyone involved, make them feel a bit more involved. We spoke to Sean as well last year about a tournament that we would love to host at St Paul's. Get the teams down, maybe make it a bit of a family day, which again, hopefully we will be able to sort something out in the summer. That we can get, a bit of a family day, community day, barbecue going, a bit of football, make it a real nice day out.
Yeah.
We've still got the cup final game that we are hoping still to play. The team in Manchester for the 1920 season. They're very keen to keep playing it, which we are as well. Definitely this year we need to get a fixture against our rivals at Charlton.
Absolutely.
Charlton Invicta. That's the one we'll be looking forward to. So whatever happens with the league, I've already spoken to their manager Gary. We're good friends. off the pitch. On the pitch, we've got to go down and thrash them, haven't we?
Yeah, the must-win game of the season. There's no
Absolutely.
doubt about that. Fantastic, Paul. Anyhow, we hope to see you all back in action soon, and we look forward to the dulcet tones of player Tom Baker interviewing teammates for your post-match reviews and getting Millwall first team predictions for our show once again. It's really been a pleasure talking to you, Paul, and you'll have to get back to us as soon as the dates for the Charlton game come up. Thanks, Paul. That's really
Absolutely.
great.
Thank you so much, Eamonn. Nice to speak with you again.
Well, that was good there. We'll have to get down there, Stan. Get your mate from Charlton along to that game.
Well, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
He'll be impressed with that.
Have to do that,
yeah.
He's a lovely fella, that Paul, isn't he?
Yeah.
Lovely fella.
They are.
Yeah.
Really appreciative of everything we do with them. Well, I'm going to give you something completely different now. Well, our second guest tonight followed in his mother's singing footsteps, as you've just heard. He started following the Lions in the 60s, but despite that, once again, we've not called upon Brian King to come and make another cameo appearance. He hailed from Whitechapel, which he recollects as being a Jewish district, clothes shops, bagels, Jewish bakeries, Jewish restaurants, he says. When I was a boy, that was it. Limehouse used to be a Chinese area and it was not where it is now. Limehouse Station used to be Stepney East and Limehouse was on the outer edge of the Isle of Dogs. Well, I say to you, a little bit like where Millwall and Millwall FC are then. When singing with his group, one of his trademark tactics was to shout out Millwall in the middle of a set if he saw someone wearing some item or article of West Ham garb. And his colleagues who were in the group with him used to think it completely inappropriate if you're playing at some sort of special function like a wedding. Well, let's welcome the singing, writing Millwall fan that is the one and only Barry Stradling.
Hello, Eamonn, all right?
Well, you're loud. You're very loud tonight. God, blimey. I thought you was going to shout out Millwall then or something.
No, I'm going to do that, mate.
No, you wouldn't do that. Well, that's very kind of you. That's a lovely bit of music, and you've made much music for God knows how many years. Since
the 70s.
Since the 70s, there you are. When we was boys, George. When we was boys.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Barry was making big sounds.
Yeah, man.
And he still is today. That's the great thing about it.
When the place will open, that's the thing. They're not opening any bloody more, are they?
Well, they will do eventually, don't worry.
Oh, yeah, mate.
You'll be able to become vociferous once again.
Oh, yeah.
You was due to come on with us towards the beginning of what was the pandemic. And all strange things were happening at Love Sport Radio because you wanted to celebrate a 50th anniversary. But that got sort of put off. And then, I suppose, a year later, we did get you on in the meantime, but a year later we're going to say congratulations, as it's 51 years ago this week, you made your first away trip as a Millwall fan. Yep. What are your memories of that most exciting day?
Well, I just realised it was a night match, Tuesday night match.
Yeah.
And I only drove down there. I was 11 at the time. My cousin drove me down there. And we stopped to ask some locals what where the ground was. Then we got back. That's the way we are in the country now, lads. In the country, 20 miles outside London for a kick-off. So no, we stood on the Watford end, and Gordon Bolland scoring a goal, and we all celebrated. No one came anywhere near us. Remember that? We stood on the terrace. Yeah, it's good. I remember my cousin had a knife in his pocket. He used to use it at work. And no one searched us as well. It's great, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Do you remember all the hay they used to have around the pitch?
Not really, no.
No, you can't remember that.
I was too young, mate.
I couldn't believe it. I used to think to myself, well, fancy having that round the outside of the pitch, because everyone was smoking and flicking their fans.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought to myself, this could be a disaster here, but it didn't happen. So that was quite lucky. So that was your first away game, and what a memory! 51 years ago.
That's
Goodness
right. Yeah.
gracious.
The next one went to Birmingham away on April in '72.
Yeah.
That was slightly different.
Yeah, just a wee bit. I'm going to hand you over to the team now.
Okay,
and
right.
Bethany's going to talk to you.
Okay.
Hello, Barry. It's Bethany.
Hello, Bethany. Yeah.
So one day it struck you to write about our club in your first book, Tuesday Night in Grimsby, Diary of a Millwall Masochist.
Yep.
It was reviewed as being one fan story of following a football team, in this case Millwall, come what may. A poor man's fever pitch, maybe, but whereas Nick Hornby is content to watch Championship decider on TV, Barry Stradlin would have walked to Liverpool and back to see Millwall play. So how did the book production line come about, and did you achieve what you wanted at the time through the book?
People said to me before about writing, so why not? When the first one was published, I thought this is easy. You know? So it's easy to write books about Millwall because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Hi, Barry. It's George here.
Hi, George.
Have you seen the picture? Before I asked you a question or two, have you seen the picture that Eamonn's put up of you? By the way,
I spoke to him earlier, but where the hell did you get that from?
It's very good. Look,
some woman said, George, before you go on, some woman said to me, she said, I remember him when we used to go to the ground. He was a good-looking bloke then. I said, exactly. Good-looking bloke now. I said, wait till you see tomorrow's picture.
Right, back to the questions, pal. Yes, you were full of the lines for a good many years now. Two questions I've got for you. Over that time, who has been your standout manager and also your standout player? Would you like to explain that to us, please?
I said standout manager, George Graham, because he turned us around from nearly going to the 4th Division to get up to where, when John Doggett took over. You know what I mean? So he's one that actually got us off the ground, I think, in my era.
Well, that's right. He got the ball rolling, didn't he? Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's loads of other mads done bits and pieces, but he was the main one to my mind.
Yeah. And what about player, Al?
Player, it depends. Kitch, I suppose, really is a Millwall idol, or goal scoring Teddy, or Neil, or Bomb. You know, I don't know really. It's difficult to say. Or Brian Kitch. It depends if you want a position or a player. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'd say really Kitchener, to be honest with you.
Because he was yes, that's right, yeah. I mean, I think over the years, the players that we've all loved at the Den are not the best footballers, but the ones who, the Kitcheners and the Cripps, isn't they, and the Rhinos, they're the ones we've all loved, sort of thing.
Well, we used to have Harry Cripps and Dennis Burnett used to be our sports teachers at school.
Oh, right.
That explains a lot. Why I'm so bloody useless, don't I?
It just adds to your East End heritage.
Absolutely, mate.
And all those West Ham friends that you've got.
I know. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You've got Palace friends, Simon. I've already Palace friends.
Well, it depends where you're brought up, doesn't it?
That's right, mate.
Barry, stand here, mate. Yeah, I've got two of your books. The one about being in Grimsby, and the other one, I was born under the Coldblow Lane. Now, when I saw the book, the first thing that struck me with it was the title. Not so much about Coldblow Lane. I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
But what was the thinking behind I was born under the Coldblow Lane? Now,
it was a chant, Millwall chant, wasn't it? It's come from the film with Clint Eastwood and come from a film with Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin.
Yeah, it was a chant. Yeah.
It was a chant.
That's right.
Chant. That's where it came from.
Oh yeah.
I was born under the Coldblow.
That's right. That's the one.
Yeah. Who would you say, in your opinion, was the standout player for the last 15 years? Make it 20 if you like.
Tim Cahill.
Yeah, no, I mean I get that. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that as it goes.
Difficult to say, really.
No.
You know what I mean?
Oh no, I mean to me one of the best players in that sort of period, although he was Steve Claridge, and he sort of came to us, didn't he, towards the end of his career. But in the time that he was there, he was outstanding.
Genuine bloke, really nice bloke as well. We met him outside.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So briefly, Barry, what are your thoughts on the current team in the Championship and Millwall under the management of Gary Rowett?
Well, so the thing is with Gary Rowett, I don't think we've done that bad, really, considering how much trouble we've had with COVID, injuries, no fans. It's a weird situation, isn't it, really? And also 9 games unbeaten. I know people have a go at this, but I don't think it's that bad, really, to be honest with you.
No.
No, that's right. I agree with you, mate.
Yeah, I mean, Stan's a big advocate of let people manage and they'll change the team, whereas there's too many that want to get rid of the manager every 5 minutes.
If we get rid of the manager, where's the money coming from? How are we going to get people in there? That's the thing, you know what I mean? We're not a big money club, are we? So where's it going to come from?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
No, I mean, that's right, isn't it? I mean, that's... You see, that's the problem today, and it's any football supporters now. They get fed into all this. Oh, he's taking us as far as he can, and all this sort of drivel, and they get carried away with it. And if we're not winning 6-0 every week, they want the manager sacked. If we're not signing players every day of the transfer window, well, then the club don't show ambition.
Right.
And then when we sign players on. When they run their contracts out, they're signing them on the cheap.
That's right, I know.
And all this sort of tripe, you know?
It's great. I mean, that's what reading the sort of posts is crazy. It drives you mad. I don't read the bloody things, to be honest with you.
Well, Barry, you're not only famed for your songs, your football and everything like that, but you're also famed for your desire to help others. Yeah. Currently, you're both promoting and supporting the Step Forward Crisis Challenge. Can you tell us what you're actually doing and how the listeners may be able to help you?
It came about because I do lectures for Ade Wilson because I've got a brain injury.
Yeah.
To talk about people who are homeless. I've had a brain injury. I'd love to get one because they're vulnerable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we actually did lectures at Crisis, some mungos. So actually, I met a lot of people who are homeless. You know what I mean? So that's why I thought it's a good cause. It deserves to be like, get rid of homelessness is crazy. So I did a step challenge, like 10,000 steps a day. That was the idea, every day for March. So you can donate to it. Every day, how many steps I've done, see I'm sort of like walking about and just taking the money, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, just don't take the money, do the walking about, you know. Oh, blimey.
If you click on the Facebook page,
yeah,
and you click on that, and it shows my story. Got a picture of me now, and
is that the young picture or the old picture?
Oh, an old bastard one. But
oh, right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say
that. Sorry, Bethany.
We understood that one, Bal.
No. I've been there for a while. I stopped swearing now. I set a target to raise £1,000.
Yeah.
I've got about 327, I think, at the moment.
And it's not even March.
No, it's March on Monday, so it starts then.
There you go. So I'll make that a lot less complicated, and the listeners will back you up with some good donations, despite the fact that you come to the Den via the old Metropolitan line, as it was in the day, down to New Cross. But, you know, that's life. Hey-ho.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't come from Palace, though, do I? So don't worry about that.
Hey, that's okay. Yeah, neither do I, funnily enough.
Yeah.
I live the other side of it these days, but never mind. Now, Barry, just for the listeners, this is what I'm going to say. Very straightforward. Put Step Forward into your browser and Barry Stradlin. And that's Barry, Barrie, Stradlin. So Step Forward and Barry Stradlin. And you'll go directly to the page where you can put some money into the donations to get to Barry's £1,000.
It's been great catching up with you, Barry. Before we say until next time, it is a tradition for us to ask all our guests for a prediction for the next game. So, what do you think will be the score when the Lions travel to Barnsley this weekend?
I think we're going to win 1-0. I've seen us win so many times at Barnsley, more than we've ever lost there. But let's hope one right, and we get more than one. But I don't think we'll lose up there.
Who are you going to score?
Let's say Jed Wallace.
Yeah, I reckon he's about 8 to 11 to score first if Phil will do. Yeah.
We'll do a bit of operative one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Barry. We really wish you all the best. So take care and stay safe. Thank you.
Bye.
I'll say bye. Barry, I don't know whether the others will, but I'll say goodbye to you. Nice to talk with you as usual, and keep it cool in the East End tonight, won't you?
Right on, mate, yeah.
All right.
I've got a rampage now. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Barry.
That'll be all right, don't we?
We're going to take the break there before we look ahead to our up-and-coming fixtures. But now, here's me, Bethany Warren, talking about Be My Eye. Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from our parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Print image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Be My Eyes is displayed on the Lionesses shorts this season. Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Eamonn Barclay. I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Bethany Warren, Stan Godwin and George Lampey. Well, it's time to look ahead to what is coming up next for our Lions. But first, we'll hear from that Twitter and Facebook video sensation, Ellis Barr.
Hi everyone, Ellis here. Thanks for watching my videos and thank you for all the support. But now it's time to look ahead to your next match. Come on, Millwall!
Hey, we haven't lost since she's been on the front end of our previews. Do you know that? That's incredible.
That's great.
No, it is. That's good. She is the star of the show in that sense. Thanks, Ellis. What a star you are. Anyway, here's Henry Statto Morgan and Ade Wilson providing the view from the opposition for Barnsley Millwall this Saturday. Let's hear what they had to say.
Evening all, welcome to View from the Opposition, where this evening we're talking to Barnsley season ticket holder and long-time, some may long-suffering supporter Ade Wilson. Ade, good evening fella, how are you?
Good evening to you. Yes, you're right about the long-suffering. Definitely.
Yeah, I think probably you and me both, mate. Millwall travel to Oakwell Saturday, looking to extend their unbeaten run in the league to 10, but facing a strong test in the Barnsley team, fresh off a solid 2-0 victory against Stoke on Wednesday evening. Currently sitting 8th in the league, just 1 point off the playoffs, where of course we know how dangerous they can be. 1-14, lost 11, drawn 6.
Yes.
Ade, how's your season gone so far? What do these statistics not tell us about how you are currently playing?
Well, to be honest, they don't tell the whole story. Since we've changed the manager to Valerian, it's just like we're a rejuvenated side again. Fantastic at the moment. We're not scared of anybody, and Oakwell's turning into a bit of a fortress again, which is what it should be. Same with any ground, same with the Den, it should be a fortress. And you shouldn't be scared to take anybody on. But the way we played It's very, very refreshing. We're playing as a team. We've got a good defensive line. Middle of parks, okay. And now we've got a jank tank. Oh, yeah. Watch out. Oh.
It was a good finish last night, that was actually. I watched the replay, very calmly taken. I think it's the kind of quality in the final third Millwall fans are crying out for at the moment. Who else do we need to watch out for this Saturday at Oakwell? What are the other key players for you?
Well, the Berry Baggio, Mr. Styles, after that beauty he scored last night, he doesn't do tap-ins, that lad. He does not do tap-ins. And to be honest, new lad Morris, he seems to be coming on. We've got a good front line again. I know Woodrow's not getting the goals, but he puts in a shift for the team. And now I was beginning to wonder about his DK's new lad. But that goal he took last night, he can hold the ball up, and if he can finish like that, goodness me, we're looking okay. But we need 50 points. That's the magic target, and then push on from there. See what happens.
There's a lot of us that have come up from League One often have that same sort of target. I always look down before I look up as well. Yes. You've mentioned players throughout your team. It sounds like you've got a really strong spine there of defence, midfield, and strikers who we need to be cautious of. Is there anybody from the Millwall team that you're particularly cautious of?
Well, we've got a little bit of history with Bradshaw, haven't we?
Yeah, of course. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Tommy B.
Well, all your front line's looking okay, but I know you've just said you've got injuries, and your defender saved you the other night. But I would say a little bit, I think we're susceptible to pace, myself, at the back because of where we play. But you will play the same sort of formation, don't you? 3-4-3.
Yeah, we quite often do like a sort of like a 3-5-2-1, I would say, something ridiculous like that. I'm not sure how. I think a lot of people are crying out for us to go back to 4-4-2 actually. So you may see something like that up there with Bradshaw and Smith starting. That might be something that we can think of. But
I think that's why the manager plays Tony Sibic at the back, because he's a little bit faster than some of us. Than Solbauer. He's a little bit quicker, but I'm not convinced yet. He went away, we had him last season, and he got some right stick because he was just like an headless chicken. But this season, he seems to have found something with him himself, and I'll give him a little bit of time. It wasn't too bad last night, and he's a little bit more mobile at the back. So we will see. Well, reserve judgment on that one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Jed Wallace, and maybe if Mason Bennett's playing now, they might, they've got a bit more pace about them. But we're not sure, if they'll start. What does your heart and maybe also your head tell you about score prediction for Saturday?
I'd like to beat you, of course, but I think it'll be tight. I really do. I think we might sneak a 2-1 because I can't see us keeping you out if you're going to play behind us. I think you might score first, but the way we're playing, it might sneak a 2-1. It'll be 2-1 to us or 1-1 draw. I just cannot see you beating us somehow.
Thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us. Really good luck after Saturday for the rest of the season, and look forward to hopefully playing you or not playing after that.
I hope you don't play as well as us.
Take care.
Well, there you go. Old Mick McCarthy must have come from North Barnsley, because he certainly don't sound like Ade. Anyway, some interesting facts there, and obviously fearsome of older Bradders. So, how does those things affect your thoughts, guys? Bethany?
I'm not sure it affects my thoughts that much, but I feel like whenever I've seen Millwall and Barnsley play, they've always been a bit of our bogey team. Am I a bit concerned? Yeah, because for me, if we're playing Barnsley, I'm always like, oh God, the bogey team. But again, as we said earlier, we're on 8-9 unbeaten at this point, and
9 it is, yeah.
9 it is, yeah, and we're doing really, really well. And if we just put in more of a shift that we have been, I don't see why we can't come out on top this time.
Yeah, how about you, Stan? What do you reckon?
Well, whether Barnsley are going to make the playoffs or not, I'm not so sure. But at the moment, I'm working on the basis that they may do. And all I'm saying is, if we turn out a performance Saturday like we did the other night, you know, Luton weren't that good at putting the ball away, but this lot might be a bit different. So they're going to have to liven themselves up a bit, I think. And he's going to have to pick a team that can do a job. And all I'm hoping is then, if we're in a good position, say 10 minutes from the end of the game, we start to close the game down.
Okay, George.
Well, I was interested in Ade saying, because Ade's making it sound like they've got quite a decent little setup there and they're doing quite well. Yeah. So, you know, it's sort of worrying me a little bit, because the one thing he said that if we've got pace at the front, well, I'm afraid outside of Bradshaw we've got no pace. So that worries the life out of me. So I just think from the other night, we must do better than we did the other night. So we're strong in midfield and at the back. We just got to try and do better. I think we could get a draw here. I'm looking at a draw, to be honest.
Okay. Right, predictions, Bethany?
I'm going to go with a positive 2-1 to us.
Stan?
Well, we could come away with a 1-0 win.
Okay. George, what sort of draw?
I reckon it's sort of 1-1.
Okay, that's great. So there's no rest for the Lions this week as we welcome to the Den the returning Jason Malumbi, along with his new loan side this season, Preston North End, on Tuesday. Back in October, we came away from Deepdale with a 2-0 win when Ken Zahor scored his first goal for the Lions and Jed Wallace doubled our lead. At the time, it was an unexpected result for us, and North End's form has been turbulent since, recording 4 losses, 1 win and a draw last Wednesday at home to QPR in their last 6. What do we think? Bethany?
Millwall seemed to do really well when we were on these unbeaten runs. Like I can't remember what season it was, but we were on like a 19 unbeaten run. So I think we'll do pretty well, and I have a feeling that we're going to do a 20-game unbeaten run.
Hey. Get your money on Bethany's 20. Yeah. How about you, Stan?
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I expected Preston to be challenging a lot better than they did.
Yeah.
When we beat them up there last year, like this season, but last year, if you know what I mean.
October.
I mean, I think in that game, that was the best that game that night, but it was the best football we played in ages, and I mean ages, right? I mean, if we can turn out a performance like that when we got them at home, you know, brilliant. But I don't think they can beat us if we're on our A game. Whether we're going to come away with a win or a draw or not, I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. But you know, we're going to have to, whatever it is, we're going to have to up our game that night. What I can't get my head round is we start off well at home, and then we just take our foot off the accelerator, and then we let the other teams get back into the game. That's what I don't understand. But anyway, it'll all come out in the wash.
That's what they say. What do you see coming out in the wash, George?
Well, I'm a bit like Stan. I actually thought that was one of our best performances of the season at Preston. I think we'll win this. I think, you know, we've had a couple of dodgy games where we haven't done very well. We've dug in. We seem to be able to dig in and get results. So I think, you know, our fortune has got to change to a degree. I reckon Tuesday we're looking at a win, actually.
Okay. How about your prediction, Bethany?
I'm going to go with 1-0.
Stan?
Yeah, well, I'll go, if it's a win, I'll go 1-0, yeah.
George?
Well, I'm going to go 2-0.
Aye. Well, at least we're looking positive with the 20-game unbeaten run ahead of us, and we haven't even hit 10 yet. And everyone sees us getting draws or wins, so that does seem good. And if Brian Horne's right, well, that would be fantastic. Don't forget, you can hear Henry reviewing Saturday's match. Links will be available on our social media sites and through Spreaker. We will take a break there for what is a more important message now more than ever from Patricia Maslin, with an introduction from that Bermondsey boy, Harvey Brown.
Hello, Harvey Brown here. I missed my football at the Den. Did you know Millwall Community Trust are continuing to help people of all ages from different walks of life and are doing so much good in these tough times? But they need our help. Here's Patricia to tell you more.
Oh, thank you for that intro, Harvey. Millwall Community Trust appreciates your support. You are a star. Hi, Patricia Maslin here. Whether you're an organisation with bodies able to assist or an individual, the Trust needs you during the current conditions to support the vulnerable and needy. If you can help make a difference or need help, please contact Sean Daly, the Trust's Chief Executive Officer, by phone on 07 958 027060. Once again, that's 07 958 027060. Or contact by email sdaly, I'll spell that, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. I'll repeat that, sdaly, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. If you can, or you know someone or any organisation who might be able to help, please let the Community Trust know. Thank you.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Bethany Warren, Stan Godwin and George Lampey. People continue to lose their lives to this dreadful virus or as a consequence of suffering with it. Deaths and infections continue, and very many people continue to be hospitalised too. Our thoughts go out to the victims, their families, friends, and those that take care of them.
There are so many fans who want to support the club, and you can help by joining the Lions Loyalty Club. It costs £40 with benefits. For £25, you or a member of your family can also become a crowdie. And why not sponsor a player's kit at the discounted rate of £450? That's £130 off with all of the benefits. You can also obtain a virtual mascot package for £104. Also watch out for the virtual match sponsor packages, which you can purchase from the Millwall Commercial Department. All the details and more can be found on the Millwall website. Lastly, don't forget iFollow returns to our screens with Carl Bates and Max McClellan on Saturday against Barnsley. 100% of what you pay, less taxes for the internet streaming service, home or away, goes back to Millwall Football Club. And it's a fantastic way to improve their revenue during these challenging times.
Next Friday, James Kelly returns to the Promised Land to host Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson and Dave Hart. In the meantime, Scott Johnson, the founder of the Proper Blokes Club, is still looking for guys to come along and join him to break the stigma of men's mental health with walk and talk groups. Being in lockdown means walks will continue, but on a one-to-one basis. Check out the Proper Blokes Club on Twitter and Facebook for further details. And don't forget to get behind Sean Ash, Millwall fan and London Ambulance Service call handler, on his walking challenge for the LAS NHS Trust. Insert Sean Ash, just giving into your browser, and a link will take you to the page to make a donation. Good night.
Don't forget, neither the Millwall Lionesses or the Romans are playing football under the current restrictions. Nevertheless, player sponsorship for the Lionesses is still available this season, so why not share the burden between a few of your friends or even a couple of companies? You could give them some added support, it would be most welcome. You can find details on their website, just put Millwall Lionesses into your browser and you will find them easy enough. We have sponsored their captain, Libby Stubbs, who made this tweet in response to the government's roadmap out of lockdown. When football comes back, I'm going to be grateful for every second that I'm on the pitch. So will we, Libby. Good night, everybody, and stay safe.
Lastly, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there, follow the lockdown guidance, social distancing when outside, and a face mask where necessary. That's it from me, Bethany, Stan and George. Until the next time, good night.